Tell you what I learned from watching a dog on a leash on a project that we were building 2 modern homes in an area that used to be called the Black Bottom of Lakeland. So I was walking and obviously we're building these 2 houses, and they were just on the front page of the newspaper as, a beacon of light. You could look this up as well, because I'm a big Frank Lloyd Wright fan, so I wanted to mimic something that really brings inspiration to the community. And it was a huge $500,000 lesson as well on doing that. But the dog on the leash stood out the most, specifically on this project on this day. And the main reason why is what I saw when I was walking around the neighborhood, having conversations with the landowners, seeing if anybody was ever interested in selling, just to let me know. And in that area, and this is the same area where the lots are cheaper than the impact fees. So I could buy a lot for $15,000, but the impact fees with the city is $29,000 or $25,000. That's impact fees, wastewater connection fees, and your permit fees added together. These are your soft costs, which makes no sense. And then the paperwork to get it decreased takes another 6 months. So you ever want to know why affordable housing isn't happening in certain areas? They'll waive certain fees, but it takes a very long time. And so to get that done, and the coordination of building anything, you are, as a builder and a developer, you are coordinating with over 40 different tradesmen sometimes in projects, sometimes more, sometimes a little bit less, but not too far off. It's a lot of coordination to minimize your profitability, because the time constraints it takes to build anything takes a long time, and it's a skill set. It is a specific skill set to be out there in boots, to get stuff done, and to coordinate with men to make things happen. Very few times I've seen some women out there doing drywall, so I highly respect that. But going back to the dog and the leash. So with the dog on the leash, what I saw was this. I saw this dog on a leash, short leash, big dog. And you could tell this is a runner dog. This dog wants to run. He wants to move. But legally, the owners legally have this dog on a leash, and they're allowed to. They are allowed to have this dog on a leash. And I felt horrible for this dog. You could see, you ever saw an animal and you see in their eyes, like, this dog does not want to be here. But this is the situation he's in. And he's just stuck. Now, he gets fed, he gets water. They probably walk him, once in a while. He gets out sometimes. But is that really the life that he wanted? For me, what came up for me was comparing that dog on a leash with even my own self when I was in the United States military, when I was in the Army. My last couple years, I was very blessed. I did station in Korea for a couple years. Then I was an Army recruiter, which I had a blast. Was awesome. Then I moved over to J4 Central Command, which is logistics and engineering for the Army. And I was my last year, I was a general's aide for General Summerall. And I was on the executive team with General Summerall and General Mortensen. So I saw the war. I was there for the invasion, right? And I went downrange. And I remember telling myself, I was still doing real estate part-time, and I didn't want to live my life saying, what if? What if? I didn't, because I saw how easy life could be in the military. It's super simple. You could have what they call sham jobs, right? Easy, amazing work. Not saying anything wrong with any of the people that are actually doing the work there. But I didn't want to live my life saying, what if? And I saw how easy it is to basically have a career that career is stable. There's certainty there. And a lot of people will give up even love. They will give up experiences and everything else because they want that certainty. Gotta put glasses on now. So what I would say is this. That dog on the leash reminded me of when I was in the military. I could have stayed in. I could have done my thing. But for me, I wanted to give it a shot in the real world. I wanted to give it a shot my way. And if it failed, it failed. To me, if that dog was allowed to be released and it knew better, it would take off. And give it a shot. Give life a shot. Just give it a shot. What is the worst that can happen? That you stay at your parents' house and you sleep on the floor for a little bit and you get some uncomfort. But man, when you're 80 and 90, you'll have this incredible story, right? Like, the story of what you're up to will be epic. That, to me, is what it's all about. Like, have some epic stories, period. Because at the end of your life, you don't want to live your life saying, what if? For me, I chose real estate development. And actually, real estate development kind of chose me. You know, that's a different story. But what I found was I never quit. I just said, all right, things are getting tough. Things financially, I put a lot of stuff on the line. Those modern homes I was telling you about, they really were a $500,000 lesson. That wasn't a joke. And I was like, okay, there was a ton of lessons learned. I'll do another video on all the lessons I learned related to that. But when I look at the dog on the leash just reminded me of so many people that get stuck on this comfort. You get food, you get water, you get some stuff paid, but do you really want that? You know, like for the people that work government jobs or anything at all, any job, like, did you really, like, as a teenager, did you picture yourself that was what you wanted to do? That's the comfort that you wanted? That was it? Really? That was it? Nothing else? Nothing else that you wanted to do, that you wanted to go for? Yes, you got to learn some things. You got to learn how to create your own revenue. You got to learn bookkeeping. You got to learn administrative. You got to learn all these things. I got it. It's out of the comfort of your Snapchatty, your TikToky, whatever the things are, right? But give it a shot. Give it a shot. Why not? What is the worst that's going to happen? That's how I look at it. And even when I'm doing, right now I'm negotiating on some bigger projects between huge companies, CSX, Cimex, you know, waste management on another project right now. I didn't ask for any of this stuff. I'm just giving it a shot. I'm just doing my best. That's all I could do, and learn from it. And if something goes sideways, got it. I didn't do anything intentional. I have integrity in everything I do. I'll communicate. I'll do what I can. I'll make it right. It may take some time, but I'll do my best. So I say to you the same. Think of it, write it down, and say, look, what's the worst that can happen? The absolute worst, right? And can I come back from that? The answer would be, to me, if you go follow the 4 principles that I live by, what I've been discovering is like, look, if you got integrity in everything you do, it's going to work out. If you're being egoless, right? Being humongously no ego at all, right? Egoless. And then you have great love in everything you're doing, and you're being aware of your surroundings, you're being aware of what's happening, you're journaling, you're writing down those lessons. Like, in the long run, it's going to work out. It will work out. I can guarantee you that one. It just won't work out when you think it's going to work out. So the question is, are you committed or attached to it? That's the question. Are you committed or attached? I don't know. That's on you. But I would say is give it a shot. Don't be the dog on the leash. You know, one thing I'll share with you, because you've made it this far in the video, is I was adopted. I'm adopted. My name originally was Franklin Andrew Padilla. And at, I think it was 7 or 8 years old, before my mom actually passing away, my mom passed away when I was 10, she made sure that I was going to get adopted in the Cruz family. She just got married to who I call my dad, Eli Cruz, and that happened, right? So the adoption went through. It was a long process, and May 18, 1987, I got adopted. The only reason why I remember that date also is because May 18, 2018, I actually spoke at TEDx as well. You can look it up if you ever want. It's Franklin Cruz TEDx. And so I always, that date always stood out because those two major things happened in my life. And I remember I finally linked up with my biological father probably in my 30s. Late 30s, actually. No, mid-30s. Yeah, mid-30s. And we didn't really speak a lot of my life. And First time I met him, that I remember meeting him, I was 19, because I was joining the military. I needed to know his medical records. And I remember having the conversation. I remember seeing him. I was like, oh, thank God that he has hair. Because all my uncles are bald. And they all have wigs. And my grandfather was bald too, but he just didn't have a wig. So I was like, oh, yes, he's got hair. Anyway, so I remember meeting him. We had a great conversation. And then in my mid-30s, we actually had a great relationship, like an amazing relationship. And he was a great grandfather. He was there at every event for my son, Andrew, and Alex. He was amazing. He really was. He would show up. He would babysit whenever he could. He did everything. He was amazing. He really was great. And then probably about a couple of years later, called me up and he says, hey, Franklin, I've got stage 4 cancer and colon cancer. I need you to get checked out as quickly as you can. And I was like, all right, I'll get checked out. And so that's exactly what I did. I got checked out. They found like I had the beginning stages of the pellets or something like that, pellets. Cut it out immediately at the VA hospital. Long story short, for him, he started, pulling back health-wise. And I remember his last week in the hospital. I spent time with him. The whole week I was there every day. And I would talk to him, and I would ask him a ton of questions. And his name was Frankie. And he was a small guy. He was like 5'5", 155 pounds. And but man, he had a big life. Like not a big life, I experienced it, but he was full of energy. He had a ton of energy. He was a motivator, a huge motivator. That's the funny part. Like if you meet him, you're like, this guy could have been a coach or something. He was so motivating. And I love that, And they used to call him Fit Frankie, I think it was, or something like that. And I'll never forget talking to him and asking him, say, look, do you have any regrets? Anything that you wish you could have done, or any kind of regrets? What does that look like? Tell me, what is that? He said, I do. He said, I wish I could have been more like you. He said, I wish I would have took more risk. I wish I would have owned my own business. I wish I would have figured things out my way. And I got trapped in just a regular job, selling insurance, selling whatever I could. And I hated it. All of it. I never forget that. I never forgot that. Because I wonder how many people do that too. And they don't even give it a shot. And you sit at your deathbed saying, I do have regret. He's like, I wish I could have been like you. Just give it a shot. Even do real estate. That was his thing. I wanted to do real estate. I wanted to learn about houses and land and subdivisions and all these things. And he was smiling about it. He's like, man, I'm so proud of you. That was the first time he ever said that. And I would say, if you're in that boat, don't say what if. Just give it a shot. If you want to learn real estate, go to my website. I got tons of case studies. Get all the free education you can. Like, I gotta do whatever. Figure it out. But don't live your life saying what if. Hopefully you got something out of this. Bye.